7, identification of skin types. So let's go over the basics. The Fitzpatrick Skin Care Type Category 1 is based on sun exposure. And how you look at this is that the person would have ivory type of skin. Eye color would be light blue, light gray, or light green, and their natural color would be red or light blonde. Their sun reaction for their skin is it always burns easily. They've got freckles, it peels, and rarely tans. The Fitzpatrick Skin Care Type 2 category is that the skin color before sun exposure is fair or pale. The eye color would be blue, gray, or green. Their natural color is blonde-ish. Their sun reaction of their skin is freckles, burns, and peels often, and rarely, if ever, tans. The type 3 category, their skin color before sun exposure is fair to beige with golden undertones. Their eye color is hazel or light brown. Natural hair color is typically dark brown or dark blonde. Sun reaction might be that they freckle, they burn on occasion, and sometimes tan. Now for category 4, the skin color before sun exposure would be olive to light brown. The eye color dark brown. Natural hair color dark brown to black. They freckle when exposed to sun. They burn rarely, and they tan often. The Fitzpatrick Skin Type Category 5 skin color before sun exposure would be dark brown. Eye color dark brown to black. Natural hair color would be dark brown to black as well, and their sun reaction would be that they rarely freckle, almost never burn, and always tans. The Category 6 skin color before sun exposure would be deeply pigmented, dark brown to darkest brown, eye color brownish black, natural hair color black, sun reaction never freckles, never burns, and always tans darkly. So what does your skin type actually mean for you? Well, there are some positive and beneficial aspects to UV rays, and the World Health Organization, or WHO, recommends that 5 to 15 minutes of sun exposure 2 to 3 times a week is actually beneficial, but more than this sun exposure is considered to be detrimental to most people. The production of vitamin D, which is actually essential to human health, is dependent on UV radiation. Vitamin D helps the body absorb calcium, which strengthens bones and muscles and the body's immune system, and it may also lower the risk of some cancers, such as colon cancer. Sunshine helps some skin conditions too. UV light is actually recommended for the treatment of skin conditions such as psoriasis, which is a condition where the skin sheds its cells too quickly and develops itchy, scaly patches. Exposure to UV slows the growth of skin cells and relieves these symptoms in many sufferers. UV light mood elevators often help people with the depression SAD, which is seasonal affective disorder. So this is a good thing about UV rays as well. This logically means that UV rays are necessary for some healthful benefits, but we have to remember that UV radiation is harmful in excess. Clients in particular should understand that tanning beds and other artificial tanning machines are very harmful for everyone, regardless of skin type. The statistical data suggests that people who use tanning machines before the age of 35 years old are 75 times more likely to develop melanoma in their lifetime. Your risk of sun damage is also higher if you live near the equator. The closer to the equator you are, the more intense the sun's rays are. So being vigilant about sun protection is crucial. If you're a skincare coach practicing in an area where people are prone to sun damage, make sure that you caution them about overexposure and suggest that they see their medical professional on a regular basis for skincare checkups. Additionally, everyone should limit their exposure to UV light and direct sunlight and apply sunscreen whenever they're out of doors. Fitzpatrick skin type categories detail the risks of UV exposure. As a skincare coach, risk discussions are Critically important. Clients need to understand the risk and how to protect themselves against this based on their skin type. What are the risks for the Fitzpatrick skin type categories 1 and 2? If your skin type is 1 or 2, you have a high risk of sun damage, sun aging from sun exposure, melanoma, and other skincare cancers. Clients in category 1 and 2 should follow these tips to protect their skin. They must have an annual skincare checkup with a medical professional. They must use sunscreen with an SPF of 30 or greater at all times when they're out of doors. And they have to do this well prior to actual sun exposure. They should limit their sun exposure and go to shade whenever they're out in the sun, and wear a hat with a wide brim to protect their hair and face, and make sure that they've got UV blocking sunglasses and wear protective clothing with an UFP rating of 30 or higher if they plan to be in direct sunlight for extended periods of time. They also need to check their skin from head to toe every single month for any changes. Now, what are the risks for Fitzpatrick skin type categories 3 to 6? If your client's skin type is in a 3 to 6, they still have lower but considerable risk of skin cancer from sun exposure, especially if they've used indoor tanning beds. You should still use sun protection, even though your risk is lower than it is for people with types 1 and 2. People of color do have a lower risk than white or fair-skinned people of getting skin cancer, but they still have a risk because the sun still damages everyone's skin, no matter who you are and what kind of melanin you have. Monthly self-exams can help find skin cancer early when a cure is likely. The Skin Cancer Foundation is a trusted source that notes that Black people who have never been diagnosed with melanoma usually are often diagnosed at a later stage, contributing to poorer overall outlet than lighter skinned people are. So this is a serious problem, and we can certainly help as skincare coaches address this. For category 3 to 6, you should follow these tips to protect the skin. Absolutely, an annual checkup with a medical skincare professional is highly recommended. Limit your sun exposure and check your skin from head to toe every single month. Pay attention to any strange growths. Acrolentiginous melanoma is the dominant form of melanoma among darker skinned people. It appears on the parts of the body not often exposed to the sun. It's often undetected. And after the cancer is spread, you have to make sure that all areas of your body are also checked. Wear an SPF of 15 or greater, please. 30 is highly recommended. Apply it well before going outside, and wear a hat with a wide brim to protect your face and head. Wear protective clothing if you plan being out in direct sunlight for extended periods, and wear UV blocking sunglasses. Tanning is actually a warning sign. Tanning, the very thing that most people think is so healthy looking, is in fact a huge warning signal. In the hours after DNA damage formation in human skin, the cellular alarm responses start going off. In response to damaging UV rays and to guard against cellular damage, the body immediately starts to produce more melanin to protect its cells. That's what causes a tanned look. The problem is that by the time that the tan appears, the cellular damage has already happened. Why is this? The body is only able to produce a certain amount of melanin. This amount isn't nearly enough to protect the skin from further UV damage. Once the skin begins to tan, this is an indication that cellular damage has already occurred. Over time, this cellular damage can potentially lead to skin cancer. The Fitzpatrick skin type classification attempts to shine a spotlight on this risk by correlating the amount of melanin a person has with their certain risk of cellular skin damage. Sunless tanning is absolutely preferable. When we realize that a glowing tan is desirable to many people, especially those with very pale skin, as a skincare coach, we highly advocate that you always recommend that the option of sunless tanning is best when you have skincare discussions. This option is much preferable than having your client bake in the sun, potentially setting them up for skin cancer. Sunless tanning products are designed to give great color without damaging the skin with the damaging rays of the sun. Most of the high-end skincare companies have at least one sunless tanning products. In fact, our sponsor, Ellie Glow, has an excellent self-tanning range specifically for this reason. Ellie Glow's Rapid Sunless Tanning Mousse will give a natural glow, a natural tan that will instantly look fabulous with the color guard, and then will rapidly process a glowingly beautiful, natural looking sunless tan within hours without any sun damage.